Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. I think I don't need this. I'm happy to present this distinguished panel members, and we'll be talking about the hospitality sector and the trends that we've been seeing happening in this region specifically, but influences from the pandemic and sustainability, etc. So we'll be bringing on the stage OLEG COSNEANU. He's the Chief Interior Designer from Omrania. FEDERICO MINUCCI, the Development Director from Voltere by Egis. HUSSAM CHAKOUF, the Senior Associate from Zaha Hadid. And if you could join us also, NAJEE SYRIANI from ROTANA, the Corporate Vice President. Thank you. Okay, thank you, gentlemen. Your mics are on?
Yeah.
I would like to just start with, again, what is shaping the future of the hospitality industry. Our members are made up of Federico, who's a consultant in the hospitality sector. Hussam has been an architect in culture and hospitality and mixed use. Oleg has a degree in hospitality business, but is an architect also in hospitalities. And then I think we've seen NAJEE on a number of panels over the past few years. And NAJEE is coming from Abu Dhabi, ROTANA, yes. And has worked on a lot of properties both in Saudi and here and throughout the region. And I think we have Oleg, who's going to present to us an interesting presentation on what's happening now in Saudi specifically. And so maybe we can turn the presentation on and start with that. Thanks, Oleg.
Can you hear me? No. Thank you. So I'll be talk a little bit. I'll brief you what's happening in what's shaping in the future of the hospitality business in Saudi, because I'm witness of the transformation which happens. I'm there for last 7 years, so my witness of that transformation and the booming what's happening now. So when we think about the future of the Saudi hospitality, we think about what can bring people, what can bring guests and operators and investors in the country. One is the first local content. The second is people. The third is uniqueness and Saudi visions, of course. Talking about local content, we have nature and discovery. We have heritage of the kingdom, of the country. We have attractors. On the nature and discovery, we have a lot of regions which bring people and which attract people to come to the country and discover it and enjoy it. We have Alula. It's a very nice region and a big development. Another development which is happening now, and we are witness of this development. It's Red Sea development with many projects and many attractions. We have palms. We have this desert. We have many regions like Asir, which is very fantastic, very beautiful and green and lush and very nice. The history of the country is very from a long time ago, and we have many interesting historical sites. We have artists, we have arts and crafts, we have fashion, we have a very nice cuisine which is mixed of all the cuisines from the regions and the many countries, and then we have a folklore. Talking about attractions, many attractions now was developing in the country by the government to bring more people and to have more attractive country for the external and internal visitors. We have eFormula, which they developed a couple of years ago, and this every year is running. We have a lot of street arts, which is very dramatic developing now, because the arts, as you know, before wasn't so welcoming, but now it's very booming. And then we have the Beasts, the many festivals like Sound Beasts, and this year is happening again. It's very attractive event. We have Red Seasons, which is at the moment they're ongoing. And talking about people. The people is we talk about people who will drive the hospitality business, and the people about who will be using the hospitality business. So how are these people? We are talking about the locals and the guests. They are modern. They're well educated, they're ambitious, and they're well traveled. So they can bring many ideas in the industry, and the requirements of the young generation is very demanding. The Saudi vision, what's about the Saudi vision? What's the goal of the Saudi vision? Is the modernity, the developing of the tourism, the sustainable of the country and all the buildings and design and environment, growth of Saudi, environmental and investments, of course. Talking about uniqueness, we as designers, we have to push the limits of the design to face all these challenges. We have many unique projects now developing in the announced and developing in the kingdom. We have King Salman Park, which is in the heart of the Riyadh, which is very ambitious and nice and huge project. It's much bigger than New York Central Park. It's about 4 times larger. Have many assets inside. Has it's a very green area, which will be most likely like a forest, and it has many assets, including a Royal Art Complex, which is will have an academy. Will have many hotels, which will have also many private assets, private development. Then NEOM is a big development which is happening now. Oxagon is a recently announced project. We have Red Sea, Coral Bloom, it's one of the assets there. Qiddiya, which is close to Riyadh, it's big master planning. Alula and the Sharang Resort, it's one of the projects there. Again, NEOM, the line. Deria Gate, it's a big project now. It's ongoing. It's close by to historical Deria in Riyadh, and will mimic the NAJEE style, and we'll have many boutique hotels there, part of that development. Of course, Desert Rock and the Red Sea. That's it. It was very fast and not to bother everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, Oleg. Myself, I'm a 30-year veteran in real estate development and spent the last 11 and a half years in Riyadh, so I've been seeing the change. I've managed to contribute somewhat to the built environment, and excited to say now I'm bringing cultural venues and event venues to the kingdom. And these are going to be brought in with mixed use within mixed use developments. We're in planning for an opera house, a couple of indoor arenas, convention centers, performing arts theaters. So we're creating a new ecosystem of entertainment, all of which have to be part of mixed use and anchored primarily by hospitality. So we've seen a lot of change, and I'd like to ask NAJEE what you see is happening and influencing the hospitality sector, not just in Saudi, because that's what we started with, but just in general.
Hi everyone. Again, you see, I think after the pandemic, we started talking about before the pandemic and after the pandemic. But I think in general, hospitality was going towards more tech, was going towards more innovation, was going towards more, if you want, optimization of services, of even of manning, because the markets in the region were maturing. So before the pandemic, all the technology trends that we talk about now were in motion, were happening. But the pandemic accelerated this, The pandemic made the owners realize that without some technology aspects of online check-ins and seamless, let's say, check-ins, they will not be able to compete. They will not be able to receive guests in a comfortable manner. So they started realizing that we need to implement things that we've been talking about, all of us, for the last 10 years maybe. So it's interesting that the pandemic accelerated some trends, but it doesn't mean that it was not there. And this is the fact. I mean, in our case, let's say, in a lot of our projects, we used to fight a lot for a lot of innovations with designers and suppliers and specialists. But we were always faced with budgets and issues related to, let's say, development cost and all that. Now we see that actually everybody's excited to move into the next level, move into automation, move into, let's say, a lot of tech in the back of house areas as much as in the front of house areas. And we can discuss this, I think, during the panel.
Right, I'm sure we all are sensitive to the pandemic and its influence on tourism in general. But how do you see that influencing the design going forward? Is it something we need to take serious, or is it just an accelerator to some of the technologies that we've already been considering? Oleg, do you have the...
All this...
Did you turn it on?
You want to give
Okay,
your microphone?
Can I have it? Thank you.
All right.
Hello. Yeah, now it's working. Hi, everyone, again. Yeah, all these challenges are accelerating the movement. Before, we've been trying to promote the owner of the business and the hotel operator to move on these high-tech technologies, and it was on the desk, on discussion every time. But every time when you come and reach the point, that's kind of what is going out first. It's kind of value engineering. But that's a very good trend. Like online check-in, as we mentioned before, it's very interesting and very, I believe now it's more affordable option which hotel operator can provide for the guest, for the comfort. When the client, the guest is receiving a message, then downloading an app, then he just do from his phone the online check-in, come to the door of the room and open it with a smartphone. And then the same approaches with checkout. So there is no contact and it's seamless. And of course, if he has the option to go to the reception and do check-in or check-out. But that's a future. The technology are developing very fast and they're demanding. And this is one of the point which can be interested for the traveler to come and try these options and all this.
So do you think that this will be further influenced by regulatory changes implemented by various tourism authorities or the operators themselves as part of their incorporating into their design programs? I mean, or is it the owners who will voluntarily incorporate these? Where's that driving? Federico, you've had some exposure to government and government authorities. What do you think about pushing towards implementing new technologies? Also, how the pandemic has influenced design?
Yeah, good morning to everyone. The government has a big very important in what will happen in the future. I mean, when we speak about Middle East, we have different kind of government, different kind of hospitality market. There are markets there a little bit more mature, like Egypt, for example. Dubai is very, as Justin was saying before, is very, very fast growing, but most of us were here in Middle East, also for Dubai, we speak about a lot of Saudi Arabia, but most of us going to Saudi Arabia, going to business in Saudi Arabia is because hospitality market in Dubai. The government for sure need to implement the technology transition. And this is something that is required more and more also from the customer. The fact is that should come and should drive the future development, because most of the time here in Middle East is coming from the owner initiative, where sometimes the government follow, not drive the leads. And the technology is now going to be, when before was a trend, now it's becoming a necessity. The clients require more for smart approach. And the hotel operator and the government should align, and we is aligning in a different speed. That is coming, this is coming faster, and it's coming as a need from the customer.
And thank you, Federico. Hussam has more of a global perspective, I think, because you're working based here, but you've been exposed to projects all over the world, including in China and throughout Europe. And do you see any parallels with in the hospitality sector, what's happening there versus here in this immediate region of?
Hello. Can you hear me? Yeah, I think maybe I will answer the question more like from urban point of view, because we hear now a lot about the smart city, but somehow we don't know yet what does it mean smart city. We know about the technology, the transportation, how it works, how that might affect maybe the existing businesses in terms of like hotel or functions in a way. I always have a question in mind. What would happen if we are using all the drones for our transportation rather than cars? What will happen for the entrance of the building? Are we going to enter from the roof, for instance? Is that something we can adapt for the existing city? Or we have to wait until we develop new master plans and then consider all of these technologies? That will happen. I mean, all of that questions we were really thinking as urban designers when we do projects before pandemic. And then the pandemic came and then raised another challenge for all the existing building. As maybe raised earlier, everybody downsizing the project. I mean, us ourselves, we are working mainly from home, and then we have like an optional to do 2 days to go to the office. We have more like a hot desking system in a way. So what will happen for the big companies who has headquarters and now all of them empty? What is the conversion of that area? More important, you go to an area like Canary Wharf in London, it's like empty. It's designed for people who work for 8 hours, and then mainly the businesses there, all the cafes, all the shops work until really maybe early afternoon, and then after that anyway it's dead city somehow after 5 o'clock or something, but then now it's really maybe dead city from the morning. So how that is going to really affect, and then when the city is developed, you care about the critical mass, how you are going to bring, when you want to visit the city, you want to also see the people, how they live, how they would work. And then, so really the question now, much open, how we upgrade the city and then make it alive as it used to be. And then we continue our maybe hospitality business as we used to.
Yes, agreed. I think generally we're seeing entertainment and lifestyle having heavy influence on bringing to life the mixed-use developments and hospitality components. And maybe, NAJEE, you're seeing it in some of the projects that are planned and that you're working on. I understand that you've been talking to some of the mega projects and giga projects in Saudi.
So yeah, I mean, while my colleagues were let's say, giving their opinion on the future, I was thinking that basically nobody, I think, in the room has an answer, like a clear answer on what the future will hold. But what is clear for us, at least, and as a company or as a hospitality industry, is that we are questioning everything. So in our projects now, we question the need for meeting rooms. We question the need for big kitchens. We question the need for business centers. We question the need for bigger rooms versus, let's say, smart rooms. If we, let's say, take the example of the kitchens, with the rise of the cloud kitchens these days, we cannot ignore the fact that a lot of our kitchens are useless. A lot of our back areas can be outsourced, can be taken away from the actual physical building, and this prime real estate can be used differently. In a lot of cases like ballrooms, meeting rooms, I think we discussed this before the panel, we are trying to see how we can use these facilities and square meters and areas in a completely different way. Like, I don't know, startup hubs, innovation hubs, whenever there's no weddings, whenever there's no, because I mean, hospitality, like anything else in this part of the world or overall, has realized that to make money or to be profitable, you have to be creative. You cannot just keep doing what you used to do for years and years. Our restaurants are changing. The idea of all-day dining is changing. The buffets, the lavish food display, all this has to change because of economical reasons, because of even sustainability reasons, because of a lot of reasons that we never cared about before. Our cities are maturing, and we have to mature with the cities as well. You know, there's a lot of offering from independents. Independent operators, independent F&B restaurant owners, and we need to adapt to all this. It's not that we're just entering Riyadh, let's say, with a new project. We need to be design-driven, or we need to look good or look nice. There's so many other aspects that come into play that we never thought of before, that we need to consider.
You're right. The maturity of the tourism sector here in the region is increasing, and I think if it starts to move in the direction of what we've seen with organic growth over the decades in the U.S., and then you'll see maybe a change to more of a franchise model than an operating model. So I think in North America we've seen it about 80% franchise versus operator model, 20%, and here it's the opposite. It's still
we've started franchising some of our hotels, and what we started doing is letting go of some of our babies. So in our case, ROTANA is known for restaurants, for their good restaurants. Now we have to realize that there's other good restaurateurs in the city that we need to talk to, that we need to invite to our buildings. You know, I mean, why do you go to a hotel these days? You go to a hotel for maybe a good room, a good coffee, a good shower, but also for good F&B, for a good experience, for to see and to be seen as well. If Zuma is the good thing, I mean, Zuma is already here since ages now, but like there's so many concepts in town that we need to talk to if we want to stay relevant to the audience, and the local audience is as important as the travelers. So what us as hospitality people realize that there's a lot of relevance in the local market and the local audience that I don't want to say we didn't care about, but that we didn't maybe notice sometimes. And the pandemic made us realize that actually your neighbor, your residents in the city are as important as the travelers, because this is what made us survive 2 years now.
right. And how does that impact the boutique sector of the hospitality side? And Oleg, I know you're working on some boutique hotels, your office in Diriyah Gate. And what are the owners expecting in terms of what type of F&B offerings and structure of the various entertainment components within a boutique operation, which is obviously far fewer keys?
Yeah, boutique. Hello. Yeah, boutique type of hotels now, I think it's on trend, demanding, and because the client, the travelers, they feel more comfortable, more homey, more environmental, very close to everything, and as was mentioned, the restaurants then can be a focal point for the travelers and for the locals as well. So that's very interesting and demanding type of hospitality business. Yeah.
You know, did you want to add to that, Federico? Because you've had some experience with.
Yes. As it's happening in Dubai, when you have to create a destination, most of the time the business model is going from 5-star or luxury hotel. There are other dynamics in other parts of the world where they created a destination targeting middle scale or budget clients. yes, a boutique hotel is something that that helps to make more visible the hospitality and the project itself. What I would like point is that, if, for example, in Saudi Arabia, most of the projects are very niche hotel, very niche, in a very the big development. But what need to be created is to create a more sustainable business. And to create a sustainable business, you need to create a more diversified offer that is not going only on the boutique hotel, but going to cover all the different sectors. And this is something that, again, we are speaking about Middle East, so there are different dynamics in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, UAE, and Qatar that are main players in the hospitality in the region. But focus should not be only on the boutique hotel, and there are very nice initiative hotel. For example, the Saudi boutique collection, where they converted the royal palaces in boutique hotel. They are very nice. It will be very charming and will be a way to promote and to attract certain kind of clientele and tourism, but should not be lose the focus in the medium long term. That means diversify and create more sustainable business, covering the whole offer of the hospitality segment.
Good. Maybe we can open up to the floor with some questions for any of the panelists, and can you offer a microphone? Does anyone have any questions for some of the panelists on some of these topics?
Yeah.
Good morning. My question, I think it's a little bit away from hospitality, but it all relates to the business in general. With all this boom happening in Saudi Arabia, what's happening in the educational sector? Are there new schools being built since with all these new developments, a lot of people coming to Saudi? So what about the education? Thank you.
That's a very good point. It's an ecosystem, and I'm very much involved with government there, and there are certain institutions and academies opening up and training staff to operate these hospitality venues or hospitality assets, and we have the same issue with the event venues that we're building. You know, so that capacity, that human capacity, has to get developed, and there's a big initiative that's going on. There was a recent announcement about the first nonprofit city, right, King Salman City at Misk, and there's a big drive there on the educational front to build that capacity to participate in the entertainment and hospitality sectors, as well as the cultural, you know, so the arts, etc. Does anyone want to add?
I mean, if I want to take it to a different perspective, in our case, we've been in the kingdom for now 15 years, 20 years, and this education has been happening. I mean, of course, talking about the boom in Saudi Arabia is happening now, but hospitality in the kingdom has been very prominent since years. Of course, coping with the boom is where we need to fill the gaps, and maybe education is one of them, and hospitality schools maybe would be something that would be relevant. But we have to say that, I mean, we have hotels in the kingdom, of course all the big operators have as well, and we have, in our model, we never work with expats all the time. We try to shift the model from, let's say, 80-20 expats to a majority of local hire. In this region, I know it's been a challenge for many reasons, but this is happening, and it has been happening. And I think moving forward, the awareness is there, and it's bound to happen.
Okay.
Okay. Just a question, because nobody actually touched the area of the pilgrim accommodations and Mecca region, Medina region, what's happening there. And also the middle scale hotels, the 3 and 4 star hotels. I think the word boutique hotel is not implemented 100% in the Middle East, especially in Dubai, because basically the feasibility study of a boutique hotel collapses if it is less than 200 rooms. And that makes it not boutique. But we call it boutique because we cannot make 60, 70 luxurious room to be a boutique hotel. So the word boutique hotel in the Middle East is totally different than a boutique hotel in, I think, Europe or somewhere else. Just my question is like, do you put in consideration what's happening in Mecca and Medina region? And what about the 3 and 4 star hotels, which you guys are doing in Saudi? Thank you.
Okay, very good values question. Regarding boutique hotels, especially in Saudi, as was mentioned, many royal palaces they are converting into it. Many buildings which was unused, like we have a precedent in Diplomatic Quarter. It's a building which was designed by us long time ago. It was Tuik Palace, was designed as a club for diplomats. There is a plan to convert it in a boutique hotel, which has a very beautiful architecture, and they want to use it, and they're going to build some additional villas. That's the shape of the boutique hotel, which are on demand now in Saudi. Also part of the area gates, they are going to build some buildings which are 2 or 3 floors high. That's the entire development regulation. And then they will convert in a boutique hotel, and the guests will have an experience of touching the history, the artisans, and all this stuff. So it will be designed in NAJEE style. Regarding the holy places, the cities, the Mecca and Medina, yeah, they are developing very well. There is a big development in Mecca. It's King Abdulaziz Road. Is linking the train terminal to the holy place, and along this road it's only hotels and developments, and starting from the lower price to higher price. We recently also designed 4 towers there, and it's under construction as far as I know now. So it's developing, and of course in Riyadh also the 3 stars and 4 stars also on demand and under design now.
In our case, we are working with the Saudi Tourism Council now to roll out Centro, which is our 3-star brand, the business hotel brand, to roll it out across the kingdom, not only in specific like major cities. And it's a fact that we are actually working on developing a new, if you want, new generation of Centro hotels that is specifically catering for the Saudi market. And I agree with you. I mean, a few years ago, we started looking at the 3 and 4 star in a more focused way, because I mean, not all our customers would like to go to a 5-star hotel with big lobbies, and some people prefer the business aspect of a 3-star hotel. And 3-star does not mean dirty and tired and small. It means business driven, focused on the essentials, talking to the millennials, although I don't really like this focus on the millennials. I'm a millennial as well. Somehow, but it's important to focus on the 3 and 4 star as much as we focus on the 5 stars and the 6 stars and the 7 stars. And the fact that the region is maturing is showing in things like this, in the development of the other categories that are as important.
I would like actually to add for the boutique hotel design in general. It's pretty much different from 3 stars or 4 stars classifications. I have experience on Morocco in a way where they turn or maybe convert lots of old houses to be boutique hotels. Normally, you don't have standards everywhere, and it's maybe attracts more people who really would like to see the culture and the city, and then maybe try to live in one of these houses. Even maybe you don't have room service 24 hours and all of these stuff. It's more like to live and try how to work on it. It's the same example in Damascus Old City. They turned lots of old houses to be also like boutique hotels. The experience is different. It's more to enjoy the architecture and then maybe try the local surrounding, the local food, make everything maybe different from what you see in maybe like 5 stars or 4 stars hotel, which when you apply all the let's say the system in all hotels, maybe the experience would be, as hotel users, could be the same in different locations of the city. So this is the beauty of the boutique hotels. One thing to keep in mind, the infrastructure of all city, it can't really maybe accommodate the huge amount of people and restaurant. This is one of the challenges for the boutique hotels doing in all cities.
You know, Saudi has their goals set on reaching over 100 million tourists by 2030 on an annual basis, and that's going to require a lot through the whole scale of categories, right, from 3 to 5 star hotels, and the extended stay hotels are becoming very popular. So we're hearing a lot of permits are being pulled, and a lot of projects are planned throughout Saudi for the 3 star and extended stay. Did you want to add, Federico?
Yes, I would like to add about the pilgrim and the holy city. That we can see in the last years a change in the product, in the kind of hotel and the style of hotel that used to be before. Sometimes used to be 2-star hotel, 3-star hotel in Mecca and Medina, where there are, starting from Jabal Omar, but they opened the 4th season recently in Mecca. There's an increase of offer of different kind of level of product in Mecca and Medina. So we said before about the new strip of hotels that is coming from the station to next door the mosque in Mecca. But also there are few hotel development that are going on in Medina. Personally, I went to Medina a few times in the recent months. And one important key factor is also how to reach the holy cities. And I fly to Jeddah, and I took the train from Jeddah to Medina, from the new train station in the airport, 1 hour and a half, a train 300 kilometers by hour speed. In 1 hour and a half, I was in Medina, amazing station. And once you arrive there are projects, Rural Medina, Knowledge Economic City. There are also big developer based there, Taiba, for example. They are trying to offer and they are trying to implement the product with different portfolio. Starting again, most of the case for the more luxury segment. Rural Medina, for example, the first phase will be the first kind of hotel, will be tranche of hotel, will be next to the Holy Mosque, and that will be the more 5-star or 4-star hotel. So there is what I can see is there is an increase in the offer, in the increase of the accommodation, in the quality of the accommodation versus what was before, but also there is a big step ahead in how to reach this holy city that is very important.
The question got a lot of answers. Do we have any other questions? Yes?
Yeah, thank you. I actually wanted to just touch upon one thing the gentleman at the back mentioned about education, but just linking it back to hospitality. Obviously, with the huge ambitions of Saudi, just talking about Saudi Arabia, and the pipeline of hotels coming on, I think there's a wonderful opportunity for Saudi Arabia to really create its own service style. And one of the questions that we have as we're talking to our clients, developer clients, and operators, is what's the vision to be able to attract the talent when we're thinking about service and specific quality of service style? And I'm really drilling into the luxury segment. But there's a wonderful opportunity for Saudi Arabia to really establish its own style of service. And I guess hospitality schools, the famous hospitality schools, Switzerland, etc. Do we see any visibility on how the kingdom can attract world's best practice in terms of operations?
Can you touch on that?
Is it a view or a question?
Well, I mean, I guess
No, but-
Dubai had to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But Dubai is not starting where it is. I mean, it's obviously 50 years on. It's matured. It's continuing to develop. Saudi Arabia, it's taking off in terms of the pipeline in the luxury segment. And I guess to attract the talent pool there. It's really just how can we do that, and how can the industry do that? Do you have any sort of thoughts around that?
I mean, we all notice the talent migration from other cities to Saudi at the moment, and this is quite visible, let's say. And they're making, and it is an attractive location to be working in at the moment. But I mean, my first reflex would be, I mean, as you mentioned earlier, the population is young, and whatever your father didn't want to do, you don't necessarily want to do the same. If you enjoy working in a coffee place, you're going to work in a coffee place. If you enjoy being a hospitality person, you're going to be a hospitality person. Trends change with, you know, the different, let's say, generations. And being a young generation, I mean, being a young population, will make it very interesting to develop into what you mentioned just now. I mean, of course, expats are a big part of the community, of the hospitality community. But I think the locals are even more interested. And whenever there's this national pride of a booming city and a booming country, it's gonna, you know, push you to be part of it. You know, it's not anymore. It's interesting. It's vibrating. It's you know, it's vibrant. It's moving forward. If I'm a Saudi citizen, I would want to be part of it.
If I Justin, if I can add about education, about attracting talent, there are different dynamics in the education and the hospitality. Yes, there are many initiatives that are starting, also some one drive from PIF itself, that are creating hospitality school or hospitality initiative. We don't need to forget the Saudization. So the level of the number of the employees that will be involved in the hospitality, and in the hundreds of thousands of rooms that will be generated, the Saudization, so the number of the Saudi employee will be a lot. Regarding the attracting the talent, I believe this just take time. Saudi, if we speak about Saudi, we just started to explore the potentiality of the hospitality market. And this take time. Need to open more hotels, need to open more high-level hotel to attract a certain kind of talents, but also in the parallel, we need to increase the international standard, also the quality of the life. So where the talent comes, can we also bring the family. Faisal was saying before that there is by 2024, the each quarter of the company, most of the business in the Middle East need to be in Saudi Arabia. That's a trend. That will happen. But parallel to that, need to increase the quality of the life of the expat coming from Middle East, coming from other part of the world, that will be based in Riyadh or in Saudi Arabia in general. So there are different dynamics, different trends need to be taken in consideration. Saudi Arabia just started the hospitality. They understand the potentiality of a more sustainable business. Take time, but the talent will come.
Okay, it's a great chance to have both designers and developers and hoteliers on the panel. So basically, and on the other side, you have here manufacturers and suppliers. A question comes with this great opportunity that we're having in Saudi Arabia of new hospitality sector being developed as a boom. The question is, what design concepts are we using, especially in terms of sustainability? And this goes for the designers. I'm meaning here for the front of house as well as back of house. And for the developers, is it just, are we going into budgetary or we're going into luxury? Are we adopting new technologies? Because here we seem and we feel that there is a little bit of conflict regarding standards in Saudi Arabia and adaptation of these standards that being followed in different places of the world to the Saudi market. The government has done lots of investment in authorities, but still these regulations are not being implemented in terms of standardization of building codes and things like that to a certain limit. So I appreciate having a view on that regarding the direction of design as well as investment in terms of sustainability and practicality of products. We here are suppliers with very high-end products, not very expensive, but practical, very high practical aspects of it. So if you can give us a view on that, that will be appreciated.
Thanks very much for the question. I think this is the big challenge we have as designers now in Europe or over the world. I mean, even like if you want in China, that I'm working on a project now, very challenging in terms of material and sustainability. I agree with you, maybe Europe advance in thinking about what material and sustainability rather than the Middle East, but as maybe Mr. Faisal mentioned, they will catch up soon. There is a huge awareness in the world about these factors. If I want to answer about design, as let's say us as a firm, how we think about it, we always consider the city or the culture of the city and the country, study it, and then we try to implement it in more contemporary way. Somehow you are designing for the future, but also you want to reflect what you have as, let's say, vernacular architecture. The challenge became also how you want to adapt that environmentally. So if you look in a project we did in Saudi Arabia, it is like King Abdullah for petroleum research for Aramco in Zahran. It's designed, it's more like cells, buildings connecting to each other. You have all the courtyard. The courtyard, it has irregular shape to attract all the wind coming in. It's really similar to the old Arabic house design, but still maybe working with the shape and the environment. The issue, the manufacturing technology, they are not really advanced as the software technology we are using in the design. This is where we fall apart with them. On the other hand, you see the 3D printing. Now it's more evolving. There is company now, I know the concrete, it's one of maybe concrete and metal. Maybe this is how you are going to use to build any building. But 3D printing now, they are thinking how we can use the normal earth from a local market, and then you mix it with some concrete and then you start building. You know, any construction now could take maybe, for a house, 5 bedrooms, could take maybe 5 days, you can build it. This is one way you can develop it. On another hand, what the environmental engineer doing, that how always for a building like a glass building, for instance, how you can use the most advantage of the glass building, that you don't want to really film it from outside. You still would like the light to come in, but you don't want the heat to go. And then you add like additional thing for the design, like louvers, for instance, where you kind of protect the glass, but you will have it. Because at some point, it's really ridiculous if you are in a city that it has sun almost all the year, but while you are working, you want to put the light on, you know? But also, you want to use the advantage of building with the glass buildings. This is also, you want to enjoy the view, you want to do all of that. So it's a question that for designers, how you can maybe compromise, not in a way like, maybe coordinate between all the advantage and disadvantage for the material and the design to work together. Still, we don't have the answer, but really we are working hardly with everyone to have better building, better design with better sustainability.
I've got a quick question for the panel here. So in terms of all of these numbers we're talking about 100 million tourists by 2030. We're talking about 100,000 plus hotel rooms by the end of 2030. From a design or operational perspective, what would you do to help attract international tourists into somewhere like Saudi Arabia? What can you do?
I think we've been seeing how Saudi has been pretty effective in advertising and opening opening itself, and with all of these ambitious, exciting projects. You've had your Dubai Expo, we've had our seasons, and we've had a lot of advertising here on billboards, and that's not just here, but all throughout Europe and in the US. So we see people, and the tourists are coming, they're coming back. So recently Saudi opened up again for tourists so that people can arrive and receive their visa on arrival. And it's a very welcoming scene when you go through passport control today. In any of the cities you enter into Saudi, the country is opening up, and there are a lot of various natural and natural historical opportunities and destinations to visit. So, do you want to add?
Yeah, the destinations are amazing. So I've been living in Saudi, in Riyadh, for 6 years now. But due to COVID, we cannot travel abroad, so which we've been doing before. But then we started during the COVID. We started discovering the country. That's amazing. So you cannot believe what's happening and what's the kind of scenes you can see in front of your eyes, and it's breathtaking. So then the culture is so developed, and the artisans and the arts, and it's very attractive country. So trust me. So it's very interesting, and from design point of view, we try to do the best and create more nice and atmosphere in the hotels, and to be attractive, and not to be as a standard looking hotel room or lobby or wherever. So when you walk in the hotel, you see and you feel the local region and the art and culture. So recently we have some projects where we work with artisans, give them work. We source from everywhere in the Saudi. We source them and we create artworks. We place in the rooms, artworks, local made. So it's not printed. It's nothing. It's very handmade. Everything in the corridors. Then also operator decide to have a boutique in the lobby, so the travelers come and buy a piece and take it with them. And so the challenge every time what we have to make the room and the hotel sustainable, based on all the sustainability design approach and standards. We try to do it LEED certified, which will also attract the visitor, and we try to do it unique and approach and address the local culture and the environment.
We also have a couple of blockbuster movies that we expect to be in filming right now. So Butler and a few other famous actors are in Saudi filming some movies in Alula and in other areas. So those will probably come out on the big screen within the next year. And this is all, showing that we're opening our Saudi to the global market. And I think for tourism, but we're also not benchmarking necessarily to the hotel sector or hotels in other markets. We're kind of taking it to the next level. I mean, there was an announcement recently of an oil platform being converted into a hotel resort destination. And what you'll see with the Red Sea and the hotels that are being developed there, or in Amala, are going to be like we haven't seen anywhere in the world. So you had a question, I believe, right? Yes.
Yes. Yeah, good morning, everyone. My name is Mohammed Susan. I'm a co-founder of Ala Hotels and Resort Management Company based in Al Ain. At the moment, we are very much growing in Djibouti. We are the owner of Kepeski in Djibouti as well, and we have a hotel which is opening in 2 years in Djibouti as well. My question is for the designer, and we as an operator, hotel operator, we always seek to have people to stay longer at the length of stay in the hotel itself. Are you guys, when you do the design, you consider that you can help us with this? Like, for example, by creating a new environment in the hotel just to make them stay longer? Of course, the rest of the job is on us as operator, but do you consider this wherein could be somehow a good business for the future? And what is the current length of stay in the Saudi as well now for the time being? I know there is not much development yet, but what the forecast? in the future. Thank you.
Yeah, of course, the target to hold the traveler to stay more in the hotel, it's your target and our target as well. So because that will create an image of the hotel, and the image of the hotel is linked to us as well as a designer, and the target is to make it comfortable, looking nice and cozy, and he has to feel like at home, and that the comfort and the services is by you, of course. The trend is developing very, very fast, and as was mentioned before, even the 3-star hotels also it's demanding. We just mentioned the Red Sea and the Mala. It's only very high top resorts, but the coastline of the south is so huge, so can afford more affordable accommodations and resorts, which I think it's also a big future for development. Yeah.
I think maybe he answered from interior point of view.
And architecture, yeah.
Also more the outside image and the architecture. It's became more demanding these days. Normally you go and see old buildings and enjoy it. Now it's more also the new design buildings, more attracting people to go and visit. So that also giving more attraction to the building, how it looks like from outside, and then also attract people. I mean, of course, as we said, it has to be sustainable and comfortable. I agree with you for sure. But when you arrive to the hotel, receiving them with a nice lobby, with all of these, you know, like the space you are in, is you are not coming really to sleep. You are really coming to enjoy a couple of days and then have good memory and then leave. So thinking about the spatial, how you are going to receive people, how they are going to circulate in the hotel and then enjoy different facilities, it's quite important as well.
Just briefly, in our case, for example, what is very important to us today is that you actually use the hotel for different functions that you are coming to achieve in your stay in a different city or in your own, let's say, region. So work, socialize, meet clients, meet colleagues, enjoy some time off. Again, we try to think of the lobby as a social hub. It's not anymore a lobby, a restaurant, a shop, a reception area. We try, and especially in the 3- and 4-star hotels, we try to morph everything into a social happening. And this is a good example, and it's not necessarily a Rotana. If you go to in Media City, the name just anyway, it's a very interesting concept. Zabil House. Zabil House is a very interesting take on hotel public spaces. So in that place, you can socialize, you can have a drink, you can have a coffee with a partner, you can work, you can just enjoy some, I don't know, off time. The pool area is as vibrant as the lobby space. Every space, even the gym facility, is catering for a longer stay for the guest. And I think this is the key, the kind of answering the needs of the customer versus wowing the customer with some gimmicks that are not relevant to their daily life or to their habits.
Being respectful of the time. I think you can join me in thanking our panelists for discussing
Thank you.
The shape of the future of a hospitality industry. Thank you very much.
Thank you.